Howdy. Doing stuff with things you find for the chickens, and everyone is interested in what I do. But now to something interesting. The Eurasian Times. Russia dispatches gigantic 200-ton magnet for the international thermonuclear reactor despite tensions over Ukraine war. And there are like more chickens now in this room, so there might be some distraction in the background going on. They have obviously quite much to tell each other every now and then. But anyway, Russia has sent one of 6 giant magnets to France. Yeah, France is the one who was or still is building the Olkiluoto 3 nuclear plant here in Finland, which is only 13 years too late. But anyway, let's start again. Russia sent. Yes, I won't stop. Relax. 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 Hopefully they get along. Settle down. Listen, chickens. Anyway. Russia has sent one of 6 giant magnets to France that will be used in the world's largest international thermonuclear experimental reactor, ITER, as part of a global effort to harness nuclear fusion power. A total of 35 countries are working together in this nuclear fusion program at a facility in Provence, France, near Marseille, hoping it could pave the way for a new source of unlimited clean energy for the entire planet. Notably, ITER is one of the last international scientific projects in which Russia is still participating amid the ongoing Ukraine crisis. The ship carrying the Russian-made magnet, or the 200-ton colloidal field coil, was dispatched from St. Petersburg on November 1st. This coil will act as a magnet once an electric current flows through it. The 200-ton coil is unique, innovative solution and a key element of the thermonuclear reactor. 14 years of fruitful creative work have been completed. Today, we are shipping this coil, which is a truly significant event. The special representative of the state corporation Rosatom for international and scientific and technical projects, Vyacheslav Bershukov, said. The 200-ton, 9-meter wide coil had been tightly wrapped to withstand a 2-week trip to Marseille in the south of France. It is only one of 6 such colloidal field coils that are expected to start and maintain thermonuclear fusion. The press service of the equipment developer, DV Yevremov Nieva, told TASS that Chinese specialists are responsible for manufacturing 1 coil. The remaining 4 larger coils will be made in France. Yeah, I bet there are no chickens there running around. Nuclear fusion versus fission. Currently, the nuclear power plants on the planet produce energy through nuclear fission, in which high-speed neutrons bombard atoms to split them apart, releasing a massive amount of energy. Nuclear fusion is the opposite of this process, as it involves the fusion of 2 atoms into one, which also releases immense energy. Fission and fusion nuclear reactions are chain reactions, which means that one nuclear event causes successive nuclear reactions. This cycle of reaction can quickly get out of control, making the fission reaction in particular very risky. If a fission reaction gets out of control, it will either explode or the reactor generating it will melt down into a giant pile of radioactive slag, releasing tons of radioactive particles into the air and contaminating large areas. It will either explode, Chernobyl, or melt down, Fukushima. On the other hand, when the fusion reaction loses control, it slows down and the internal temperature drops until the reaction stops producing little radioactive waste in the process. Any damage would be confined to the immediate surroundings of the fusion reactor. Therefore, nuclear fusion is considered a clean, safe, and unlimited energy source. The ITER project, as part of the ITER project, the 35 partnering countries are building the world's largest Tokamak, a giant donut-shaped magnetic fusion device. The device is designed to use three primary types of magnets or coils, namely the central solenoid magnet, poloidal magnets, and toroidal field coils. The central solenoid is a coil positioned in the center to induce and maintain powerful electric current in the plasma, a gas of charged particles, which will result in the energy-producing fusion reaction. Yeah, you can check the video. The current inside the central solenoid induces a current within the plasma, which must be shaped to keep it away from the walls, and this is where the poloidal field coil comes in. The 6 horizontal circular coils around the outer edges of the tokamak are supposed to direct the plasma current toward the center, thereby keeping it from approaching the walls. Then come the 18 toroidal field coils, which are huge D-shaped windings that wrap around the plasma. They are supposed to generate a field parallel to the plasma current to induce a spiral motion, which will also help stabilize the plasma and keep it away from the walls. And the same chicken, which was today very interested into what I do, sits now on my feet. She's listening. Sanctions delay the shipping of poloidal field coil. The Russian-made poloidal field coil was initially scheduled for shipping in May, but sanctions forbade Russian ships from docking in Europe. Without the Russian coil, the Tokamak will not work, senior ITER Center scientist Leonid Kimchenko told AFP. Andrei Mednikov, a scientist in charge of producing the poloidal field coil, praised the continuing international cooperation. If this cooperation were halted, everyone would lose, Mednikov said. The ongoing tensions between Russia and the West are reminiscent of the circumstances under which the ITER project was set in motion in 1985, when US President Ronald Reagan and Soviet Union leader Mikhail Gorbachev met to discuss how to cool tensions between the two superpowers. US President Ronald Reagan and Soviet General Secretary Mikhail Gorbachev met for the first time in 1985 in Geneva, where they jointly proposed an extensive international scientific collaboration to open the way to a new source of energy for the benefit of all mankind. They didn't agree on much, except that they would jointly work on fusion as an energy source, Tim Liu's director of science at ITER told CBS News. From that meeting, the idea of the ITER project developed further, taking various iterations until it grew to include participation from 35 partner nations, including China, India, South Korea, Japan, and the nations of the European Union. I was just wondering about this 85 meeting in Geneva in Switzerland. Was it the same when they were talking about fossil fuels? But after a very sketchy read through to that. I still wanted to show you something about the Safire project, despite everybody knows it.
The Tokamak and ITER reactors draw many millions of watts of power in an attempt to contain collisional plasmas to obtain fusion. At a cost of billions of dollars, huge international projects have been trying to contain plasmas, utilizing vast arrays of superconducting magnets. So far, this has been unsuccessful. Fission reactors split the atom, and although they have an efficiency of around 35%, they also produce radioactive waste. This radioactive waste is being buried in the ground or stored in facilities at enormous expense. None of it is benign. Some of it is still deadly, even after a half-life of over 1,000,000 years. So how is Safire different? Self-organizing systems are a natural process occurring throughout nature. Safire forms its own electromagnetic containment field into a self-organizing high-energy plasma. And unlike fission reactors, Safire is stable, controllable, and has no environmentally dangerous or detrimental side effects. It uses hydrogen as the primary catalyst, the most abundant element in the universe. Studies done at MIT have shown that when radioactive waste is exposed to hydrogen isotope nuclei, the decay rate of the radioactive material can be accelerated, even to the point of neutralizing the radioactivity. Safire creates an environment where hydrogen nuclei interact with other elements, creating double-layer shells. Within these shells, electrons, ions, and molecules are trapped by powerful electromagnetic fields. This is where radioactive material would be exposed to the hydrogen nuclei to remediate the radioactivity of that material. Safire can also use radioactive materials as fuel.
Yes, and I still want to show you a small Tokamak. So that's some 7 years old. At home made. Obviously, you can see that it's spinning. It will spin according to the polarity of the magnet used. That's the direction it will spin. But anyway, sorry for the interruptions in the beginning. Now they settled down, and I don't have anything to say anymore, at least for now. Huge magnets are floating. Anyway, thanks. Bye.